What if I told you the greatest enemy you face is it within you? The real challenge is not to conquer the world around you, but to master the vast universe of your own psyche. What if I told you there's something inside you that's not really you? It watches you. It reacts when you're angry. It whispers when you're afraid. And sometimes it even takes control. And here's the terrifying part. You've felt it before. You just never realized it wasn't you. For centuries, ancient mystics, philosophers, and psychologists have hinted at a terrifying truth. Inside every human being, there is a shadow, a second self, a hidden entity. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't forget. It's the version of you that you try to bury every day. But no matter how deep you hide it, it waits, watching, listening. Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, warned us about this exact thing. He didn't call it a demon. He called it something far more dangerous, the shadow self. And once you become aware of it, you'll start to see the truth in your darkest moments. You've never been alone inside your own mind. The nature of the shadow. So, what in fact is the shadow? Simply put, the shadow is all that you are, but do not accept to be. According to Carl Jung, this dark side of the psyche is formed by thoughts, desires, impulses, and memories that at some point in life were considered unacceptable. Maybe when you were a child and heard that boy does not cry, or when you showed anger and someone said you were ugly like that. Since then, you have begun to push these feelings into a hidden, quiet place, but not harmless. It's your anger denied. It's your swallowed fear. It is their shame not understood. It is jealousy that you pretend not to feel. These fragments do not disappear. They only descend into the depths of the mind where there is no light, but there is life. And here is the crucial point that few people understand. Repressing is not erasing, it's feeding in the dark. The shadow, contrary to what many think, is not the evil in you. She is the wounded, rejected part who only learned to protect herself the way she knew how. The more you deny it, the more it seeks to be seen. Not because it wants to destroy you, but because it needs healing. Maybe you've been there before. I said something mean without meaning to. You had a thought that embarrassed you. You felt an anger that didn't seem to fit you. And then thought, I don't know why I did it. It didn't look like me. But it was a part of you that you don't recognize because you were taught to hide. That moment was not an outbreak. It was a calling, a desperate plea from a part of you that wants to be understood, not banished. The shadow need not be feared. It needs to be looked at with compassion, with courage, with curiosity. Because when you get to know her, something magical happens. It ceases to dominate you on impulse and begins to transform into a conscious force. How the shadow manifests itself. The shadow does not knock on the door. She comes in quietly, and it takes control in the moments when you are most vulnerable. But here's the detail that almost no one notices. The shadow does not manifest itself as a monster. She disguises herself as you. It shows up in the little behaviors you'd rather justify or ignore. She hides in that sarcastic comment that slipped through without thinking, the silent comparison with someone more beautiful, richer, more successful, the secret pleasure of seeing someone fail, the procrastination that always appears when you are about to do something important, the anger that explodes and that you later call stress, the subtle victimization that makes you sabotage yourself before the world hurts you first. All this is the shadow trying to express something. She doesn't scream out of spite. She whispers what you need to hear. You're pretending to be okay. You are afraid of not being loved. You're tired of hiding your truth. Only since these truths hurt, we prefer to run away. And the more we flee, the more the shadow must find drastic ways to reach us. Have you ever wondered why you repeat certain patterns? Why do you attract the same type of people? Why does it sabotage relationships, opportunities, dreams? It's not bad luck. It's the wounded part trying to repeat itself, to be finally healed. And maybe now you're starting to understand what you think is weakness may just be a part of you begging for acceptance. What makes you sin may be an inner request for freedom, authenticity, truth. The shadow is you, but without the masks the world has taught you to wear. And here is the paradox. The more you know her, the less she controls you. The more you run away, the more she commands. For him, the shadow is not only the bad side of the personality. To ignore it is to live an incomplete life, where you play a role but never become the protagonist of yourself. You will not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but yes, making darkness conscious. Carl Jung. According to Jung, facing the shadow is a process called individuation, the path of self-awareness. That's when you stop pretending to be just good and start being whole. Neuroscience moderna. Today, science confirms what Jung intuited almost a century ago. Studies in neuroscience show that repressed emotions such as anger, guilt, or fear do not go away. They lodge in the limbic brain and express themselves in the body, in the form of chronic anxiety, insomnia, psychosomatic diseases, compulsive behaviors, that is, what you do not welcome in the mind. The body tries to scream. Prolonged emotional repression activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, triggering high cortisol levels. In practice, you live in a state of alertness even when you are silent. Your body thinks it's being threatened, but the threat is inside, not outside. Jordan Peterson. Psychologist and writer Jordan Peterson cuts to the chase. If you are not a monster, you become weak. You need to be dangerous, but choose not to be. For Peterson, integrating the shadow is not about becoming violent, but about becoming strong enough that you don't have to be. It is to recognize your capacity for destruction, but to choose the path of responsibility. You are only really good when you can be bad, but choose not to be. It is the tamed force. It is the beast tamed by the spirit. These experts, from different fields, different eras, say the same thing with different words. Your healing is not in the artificial light you pretend to have, but in the darkness you have the courage to look. How to integrate shadow into practice. You don't cure what you don't see. You do not transform what you do not accept. So integrating the shadow begins with seeing. See what you've spent your life trying to hide from yourself. Here are 4 powerful steps to start this process. Watch your emotional triggers. What annoys you in others usually reveals something unresolved within you. When you judge, criticize, or feel exaggerated anger at someone, ask, what is this saying about me? Perhaps you are seeing in the other a reflection of your own shadow. Your envy you don't want to admit. Your insecurity that you project. Your pain you haven't looked at yet. Honest internal dialogue, uncensored. Set aside moments of silence and write down what you feel. No filter. Anger, guilt, desire, pride, fear, everything. Not to judge, but to welcome. The shadow does not need to be eliminated. She needs to be listened to. You will be surprised at what appears, and you will realize that what seemed monstrous is often just a wounded part wanting to be heard. Stop self-sabotaging. Practice self-observation with compassion. Every time you sabotage yourself, there is a reason behind it. Fear of being judged, fear of failure, fear of working out and not recognizing yourself anymore. Observe your patterns with kindness. Write it down, breathe, welcome. Change begins when you tell yourself, it's okay, I'm learning. I am not my mistake, I'm the one looking at him now. Seek help, you don't have to do it yourself. Jung said that no one integrates the shadow completely alone. A therapist, a mentor, a true friend, all can help you see what you alone may never see. The shadow reveals itself in the mirror of the other, but it only integrates when you decide to take responsibility. And here's the secret. Integrating the shadow does not make you less spiritual, less good, or less evolved. In fact, it makes you whole, human, real. You didn't come to this world to be perfect. You came to be true. Life does not begin when everything is under control. It starts when you stop running away from yourself. Looking at the shadow is uncomfortable, but it is the only way to become whole. Accept your darkness. It is the first step to finding the true light.